Hello, welcome to my channel. This is the Hodgepodge Artist, and I'm Angela Marie. This is a work in progress. I have lots of things I work on. This first one I started, it's acrylic, and I had joined the Unexpected Gypsies Patreon and was kind of halfway through a video and got inspired. Then I took a break that day, and here's my parents' dog Rocky. So this is just pictures of, this is Sally. That's not her smiling, not snarling. Here he is stretching while I pet him. And I just thought I'd interlace some family stuff in there. And then this little guy came and joined me while I was sitting outside. I finished the Unexpected Gypsies video and learned that putting the shading in made a huge difference. And then most of the stuff is done on the weekends. And here I is. If you watched my other video, I was not happy with this. This was a paint person told us how to paint it. Just wasn't happy. So this is kind of a lesson or tips on how to cover one. So I started with the gesso. This is speeded up 6 times. If it's too fast, let me know. I don't know if it's distracting to be this fast, but I didn't want the video to be super long at the same time and didn't have a lot to talk about. So the first lesson I ever learned in gessoing something is make sure you go one way the first time if you're covering up something, just gessoing in general. So here I am, right to left, just putting it on. Just trying to get a good coverage. Now this is me going in again, and you go up and down. This is the second layer. And so you would go up and down. So each layer you go the opposite direction you did before. That way it gets rid of those, the grain, and it gets rid of the brush marks. And I'm just using a pretty big, just nylon brush to put it on. And I'm putting it on as thick as it'll let me without being too streaky. And there I go, keep going in. I'm just using cheap gesso for, I think it's the latex, or latex, Liquitex, not just kind of student grade, not the professional. Then you go through and you sand it. So here I am sanding it, just trying to even it out, make it a smooth surface. I use this brush to kind of get the dust off. Though to be honest, it was a pretty flat surface. It didn't really need a lot of the, I can't think, a lot of the sanding. So here I go painting. This will be the final one. Again, I go left to right. I noticed after this one that it had enough of a coverage that I could use the panel for just painting something different. So there I am, trying to make sure all those divots and crevices really get covered up. And then this will be the next, and I do one more sanding, again, just to make sure it's even. And then I start to draw what I'm going to make. I have something in my mind. And when I do acrylics, I normally just kind of do a rough sketch of what I want to do. I'm always working on multiple projects at one time. Thought about calling myself the ADHD artist because I just have all this creative ideas, and I just have a hard time sitting in one spot for long periods of time doing lots of things. I also work a full-time job, so a lot of these, I have a 3-day weekend. A lot of these is done over the weekend in spurts of house cleaning and other stuff. So I have an idea, a plan for this one is to have the background and then collage pieces over it, just giving it the background, and then having one bigger flower, focal point flower on top of it, and giving it as a Christmas gift in the reference of, you know, either about standing out, being unique, being one of a kind, is kind of the theme of this one that I have in my mind. My phone went off. So here I am painting the background. I don't worry too much about how it looks, because I'm going to be layering over this. I'm going to be texturizing it. I'm going to be doing this. I just want a background to kind of work from, which is a good thing because I do this blue, and this is in acrylic gouache, so I use water to kind of loosen it up. But I love acrylic gouache in the aspect that it's very bright colors. but it dries matte. And it has a lot of the properties of actual acrylic. So this part down here, the lower part that I'm working on, if you saw it up close when I was done, was very patchy. So, but again, I'm at this point not too worried about it because I'm going to be doing other things with it, and hopefully it's not going to in the end. It's still very much in the quote-unquote ugly phase, but it's going to be that way as I slowly work on it. So here I am just putting in the background of between the flowers, painting them. I'm using the deep blue, I want to say it's Prussian blue, but I can't quite remember, and it is Turner acrylic gouache, and then the other tube is blue, ash blue by Holbein, and then the green on the bottom is ash green by Holbein. Those are my favorite. All the ash colors in Holbein are my favorite, and I'm just kind of mixing the two colors to give it some definition. I didn't quite make it in the lower parts, but I think most of those will be covered up. Again, we'll see. I'll fine tune it, work with it. If I knew this was going to be a long-term thing and I wanted to invest in putting music in, I would do that right now. So you can listen to some music as I'm doing this, but you're stuck listening to my voice and maybe silence. Just using my brush to get into those little areas to define. The leaves are not perfect. They're not symmetrical. They're not anything fantastic because I just don't, I don't know where I'm going to go from here. So they're just rough. I figure if I go over, either if I go under or over the size of them, I can always repaint them in. And again, just putting in those details. Just in case anybody's wondering, these are supposed to be flowers. Some of them look a little bit like palm trees. Oh, here goes my cat peeking in and seeing what he can be getting himself up to. And just kind of putting in those things. So there we go, cleaning up. Done for the day, letting it dry. So then that's it for this week that I did that. I did buy me some flowers to paint, some still life flowers. Usually I use Unsplash to kind of get ideas. So I'm going to do one in watercolor. That's the one on the right. And then I'm going to do acrylics on the other one. I think, yeah, acrylic gouache, because I didn't feel like bringing out all my acrylics at this point. So I get my brushes out because I think I'm going to be super productive and get all this done. But you'll see it'll be this later on that I get to the painting that one. And then I start with the watercolor, and these are Roman schmalls that I'm using. I'm still learning the saturation of my colors. I want to learn, I don't necessarily need to, but I want to learn to be more subtle with them. I think one of the problems is, and this won't be all about critiquing me or telling me that I'm a bad artist or anything like that, but just, honest introspection about how I could do things better. That's what I want, a lot of this channel to be about is, just being somebody with no formal education, trying to learn. I'm older in life. Never thought that I could do art and make it look like something or make it look even remotely beautiful. I'm still really working on not making things look flat or one-dimensional. So I'm really working on elevating. Before I was working on more structures, more, making things look like what they're supposed to look like. So of course you can't really see the flowers from here, but they had those pretty bright pink roses. And now I'm putting in the little lavender, whatever kind of flowers those were. So I'm just going through here and taking what I see and going with it. I freehand this. I don't pencil it in, mainly because, watercolor, I probably could have done it with this because my colors are so bright and dark. But typically with watercolors, I don't want pencil to show through. I'm just heavy-handed, and I've got to learn I want to learn. I need to correct my language because words matter. I want to learn to be less heavy-handed in my art. So here I am kind of looking, seeing what I want to do, where I want to go next. And there was these little pod things, so those are going in. Though I think in hindsight you probably wouldn't know that they were pod things, but if you saw a picture you might be like, oh yeah, those are the pod things. So I'm using different greens throughout this. Now there were some white flowers in there, though I thought about getting masking fluid out to preserve the whites, but I decided not to, so I'll be coloring those in and not making them little white flowers, but those are the green middle of those white flowers. And believe it or not, this is sped up. It's not sped up as fast as the other one, that was 6. This is sped up to about 2. So it's just about taking my time, looking, observing, seeing what I want to put there. There was this greenery there that was just a green kind of like plant thing, flower. Oh, that's the thing I like about watercolor is you can dab it up real quick. So I do that, kind of put it in more. But that's where patience comes in, because if I had waited for it to dry, then my colors wouldn't have leaked into each other. Again, just filling in some leaves, some greenery, putting the stems in. Just trying to visualize what I want it to look like. I don't know, looking at the screen here, I kind of like where it's going. It's more abstract, obviously, than realistic, but I don't think I'll ever be truly realistic. So at this point, I decided to let that kind of dry and see what I want to do. And I go in and for the acrylic side, I think I just wanted to show on a video and just in real life what you could do with different mediums with the same subject. So that's what I'm doing here. Here I am drawing out where I want to put things. And I don't know if you can see that real good. But I'm just kind of laying stuff down. I don't have much to say there. I'm just, that's a Pentel, I think that's a Pentel 1000 pencil, 0.05 lead. I do like that pencil a lot. It's a hard HB lead, so it does good, except for it does wear down quick. It is a mechanical pencil, obviously, so excuse me. And so here I am just looking at it, try to place what I want, what I'm going to paint over, just getting that layout of the land. Here I am making the flowers. This one I go a little bit more on my own direction instead of in my mind, I use the floral arrangement more as a concept than an actual one-for-one. I tried on the watercolors to make it more like what I saw one-for-one kind of placement and stuff. This one I made the roses bigger, added some things. There were these almost lily-like flowers in there, and they were very hard for me to capture. And actually you'll see soon, I stopped the video and I have actually finished the watercolor. I just didn't turn the phone back on. I use my iPhone to video. I find it has great quality, so just didn't video it. But here it is again, me just filling that in and drawing that in. And again, this is sped up 2 times. So you can see I am taking my time, just trying to visualize what I want to put in there, what I want to do. And there's the stems, good old stems. uh, okay, and that was a quick jump. So here is the watercolor done. Um, there's nothing more satisfying than taking off the tape. Oops, sorry about the ring light. Nothing more satisfying than taking off the border tape and just seeing, it just gives it that look of finality. I was pretty proud of myself. I did a good job of making it look pretty even on each side. I struggle with that sometimes, but I thought I did a good job. And this is Bohong, I think that's how you say it, uh, block. Um, so I know it doesn't do it. So anyway, that's kind of where I finished off with that. And then I went to starting on the acrylics. Again, I used acrylic wash. This is Turner. I think everything I use, I don't finish this, I just kind of get it started. Everything I use is the Turner. This is, of course, again, sped up. I just go in and I'm outlining using a thin brush. These are just cheap brushes. At this point, I haven't invested in nice brushes. I am a firm believer in getting quality materials because I do think they make a difference. I have learned that quality materials make a difference. And not to say that I'm a snob if I do have things that aren't quote unquote artistic grade that I love. But I do like the idea of light fastness and things lasting and all that good stuff. So I do have typically less student grade materials than I have more professional. I have a full-time job that allows me to afford that. I do feel like if you can't afford it, there are alternatives, and just making art at any time, and especially if you're making it for yourself, is all that matters. And that was my kitty cat at the beginning of my day, and thank you for watching. Bye!